talk about a big play. Hey, you don't get any bigger than that.
Your goals, I'm bringing my game. All of that talking just sound like a show. I'm just letting you know that I'm not entertained. You hear the crowd, they screaming my name. I got the stadium going insane. Done with the talking, it ain't no discussion. You started, I finished, put me in the game. Put me in the game. Yeah, put me in the game. All of that talking just sound like a show. I'm just letting you know that I'm not entertained. Hey, coach. Put me in the game. They put me in, so I'm going in. You play for fun, I'm playing to win. Back on the wall, I'm ready for war. If I beat them before, I could beat them again. They thought I was done, I went on a run and beat all the odds and got even again. Watch what you say, I'm not one of them. When I jump in my bag, I could jump out the gym. Take a look at my legacy, I gotta let them.
This is a special presentation of EA Sports from the Coliseum in Oakland. Our tribute to the coach, the John Madden Legacy Game. I'm Brandon Gaudin here to take you through the proceedings. And coming up, we're going to tell... One time for old times. What do you say we play some football as we are underway from Oakland in the John Madden Legacy Game. Good coverage there on special teams as they'll get him down shy of the 20. So it's the NFC stars who will get the ball first. And, Charles, as we alluded to, we've got a different era of coach on each sideline. So the man coaching this NFC squad, we'll call him Young John Madden. This is a coach who was trying to establish a foothold in the NFL and on the cusp of doing it very successfully.
Yeah, you think back to that period, those early days as a coach of the Raiders, the late 60s in the AFL and then in the NFL in the early 70s. Coach was a guy who was ahead of his time. The Raiders were one of the first teams to have mini camps, one of the first to film practice, because he wanted to practice coaching as much as he could. And his teams, they were successful right from the start of his head coaching tenure.
So as we mentioned at the top, let's take you through the life of John Madden. And, you know, it's very fitting that we're here back in the Bay Area, not just because John's so associated with Raider football, but also because this was where he spent his formative years.
Yeah, he grew up over Daly City with his buddy John Robinson, who would also become an NFL head coach. He played his high school ball at Jefferson High, eventually wound up playing tackle at the University of Oregon, and later Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Played well enough that in 1958, he was a 21st round draft pick of the Philadelphia Eagles. That's right, the draft of 30 rounds then.
3 yards on that last carry. Here's 2nd and 7. To throw is Favre. This one into the hands of Kittle, the tight end. He'll get it inside the 20, and he's going to be taken down. But there's a penalty flag in the backfield. Is this a hold, or did they rough the quarterback? Well, Charles, sometimes we talk about the lengths officials sometimes go to protect star quarterbacks, but that was tough to argue against.
Yeah, and I'm sure that everyone's going to say, hey, we're going to administer.
And he is in. Touchdown, NFC. A 3-yard touchdown run. And the NFC has taken the early lead. Extra point by Anderson, nothing good. And it's now a 7-0 game. The drive summary that time, 3 plays. And Barry Sanders will want to finish it off as he does so with a touchdown run. Dante Hall going to bring it out of the end zone. And he won't get this to the 20-yard line as he's down at the 19.
holding, 80.
It didn't take long to see our first penalty of the game, did it?
We always talk about everyone wanting to get into the game in a hurry. The officials did as well.
So, Charles, as mentioned, we've got another Coach Madden over here on the AFC sideline. Of course, his Raiders, members of the AFC West. So this is a conference he battled in for his entire career. And you think about the landscape of the NFL as he was getting into the back half of his tenure. It was a golden era for coaches. You had Don Shula, Tom Landry, Chuck Noll, Bud Grant. But it was John Madden who had the best winning percentage of them all, CD. 759, the best ever.
Brandon, it's hard to believe he could be so successful in the conference with all those great teams. The Steelers won 4 Super Bowls. The Dolphins won 2 and were a mainstay in the playoffs. The Colts were tough. The Broncos came out late and went to a Super Bowl themselves. But against Hall of Fame coaches, John Madden's record, 36, 16, and 2. That's pretty incredible. His Raiders were a factor each and every year.
Now a play fake. Brady. Oh, this one incomplete. The pressure got to him as he released it. And it's second down. Brady's incompletion on first down leads to a 2nd and 10. They're going to look to throw. Oh, the NFC pressure a little too much as they get home for the sack. Jack Youngblood. It'll go as a loss of about 8 as he gets in there to drop him. 1 quarter in the books at the Coliseum. What a day. The NFC Stars with the early lead. The AFC with the football here to begin the second quarter, as they've got it with a 3rd down and long coming up. Brady going to throw. Under pressure, and they got to him again. Dropped for a loss of 7 by multiple defenders. Here's Ray Guy now, as his first punt will come from inside his own end zone. Call it 46 yards on the punt, just a single yard on the return as he was covered quickly. And the NFC will take over 1st and 10. Favre. That's swung out wide to Sanders. And they'll get him down on the other side of midfield. Play action. It's Favre. He's going to loft it deep right sideline. And that's going to be incomplete. Good effort there trying to take a shot, but it's 3rd down. After the incompletion, here now, 3rd and 2. They'll try and run for it with Sanders. And they'll get him down as he's inside the 40. And they get 10 yards there and convert on 3rd. So from the 39 now, they'll come up on a 1st and 10. On the counter now, it's Sanders. And he can only manage to get a couple. 2nd and 8 coming up. Charles, you mentioned Coach was a 21st-round draft pick back in 1958. It was the Philadelphia Eagles who selected him. But unfortunately for John, knee problems, they just continued to dog him. He was hurt in his first training camp, actually never saw the field as a player in the NFL. But it was still during his time with the Eagles, you and I were talking about this before going on air, that you could start to see the light bulb going on for what his career path might entail. And it went on in a big way, didn't it? Because while he was rehabbing his knee, he started to spend a lot of time breaking down film with the Eagles with quarterback Norm Van Brocklin, the future Hall of Famer and future head coach in the NFL. Remember, Norm Van Brocklin coached with the Falcons, he coached with the Vikings. And it's there during that time, I think Coach Madden realized his love of football and love for teaching, combining all that together, and that meant being a football coach. So in 1960, began his coaching career at a small college south of San Luis Obispo called Allen Hancock, and then later at San Diego State University under another legendary coach. They got the throw it around pretty well, Doc Ford. So that one on target, and it adds to this first half lead. And maybe we're too early to worry too much about 1-score lead, 2-score lead, etc. But this is where you kind of start banking those points that come in helpful later on. Taking in at the 3. And he'll go down as this drive will start at the 25-yard line. So the AFC making their way out, and it's one of Coach's favorites, another local guy, Tom Brady, who will be at the controls. And boy, Coach always admired the way number 12 could run an offense, and especially his ability to stay calm. Oh, he tries to force it in, and it's intercepted. Picked off by Deion Sanders. And he's going to bring this one back for an NFC touchdown. But Charles, you can just see the frustration on the sideline. Safe to say that's not how they expected this series to go. The ball only went one way, and it was backward into their own end zone, courtesy of the pick six.
And, Brandon, how often do we hear offenses tell us before a game they want to end every series with a kill, right? A punt, a PAT, or a field goal. In the case of a defense, they wanted to end with a punt or a takeaway. And we saw the takeaway right there, and it turned out to be a takeaway that turned into 6 points.
Here comes Hall. He's going to bring it out. And they'll get him down right at the 25-yard line, so the same result, and he opted for the touchback. The AFC offense heading back out. You know, Charles, Coach really loved to utilize his tight ends in the passing game. You think about Dave Casper, Hall of Famer for those great Raider teams. And I think he saw a lot of Dave Casper in an all-Matty staple, Tony Gonzalez.
Tony Gonzalez is the type of tight end I think everyone's looking for. He's the guy that can make some big plays from that tight end position. Let me tell you, you better make sure you have him accounted for on every play.
And that's exactly right, because Dave Casper, he could shred defenses down the middle of the field. And that's exactly what Tony Gonzalez did in his entire career. A 14-time Pro Bowl selection. Only Tom Brady has more. There are 6 guys in the 15,000-yard receiving club. He's the only tight end in there. Tony Gonzalez, every snap he had to know where he was because he could make plays short, medium, and long, and often put the ball in the end zone.
Brady's throw on third down there is it. So they're forced to punt on fourth as this one's away. Here's Hester. They call that a punt of 38 yards officially. And it will be 1st and 10 as they take over. The NFC offense coming out here. And you know, Charles, Coach Madden always said that if he had one drive to win a game and he had to pick a quarterback, he would pick Kenny Stabler. But I think if you asked him to omit any of his Raiders players, there's a good chance the guy he'd select would be Brett Favre.
Brett Favre is always smiling. He's always laughing. He's always talking to someone. He remembers that it's a game. And if it's a game, you should have fun.
And, Brandon, that always reminds me of a great movie line where one of the players was telling the coach, every time I say it's a game, you say it's a business. And every time I say it's a business, you say it's a game. With Coach, it was always a game.
After the sack, here's 2nd and 11. Now Favre. The quick throw knocked away. It's incomplete. The pressure really ratcheting up. They get the sack on 1st down. Then a near sack. They got to him there just as it was leaving his hand.
Yeah, they might need to change their pass protection scheme a little bit. Maybe bring another guy into the backfield to help protect the quarterback, because that was awfully close.
And he'll be hauled down at about the 30-yard line.
Well, things are definitely going right for them here in the first half. Pick it down, any down, even 3rd down, no problem. They get a connection there and pick up a fresh set of downs, continuing to move the ball.
So even though it's 1st down, here's the field goal unit on now to try to get 3 before halftime. He made his first, this from 47 yards out. Anderson's kick is good, and that will extend their lead even further. So this lead, Charles, just continuing to swell here in the first half.
It's interesting. When we talked to them prior to the game, they told us that their game plan was take no prisoners, and they've lived up to it so far because everything has worked. No guarantee that'll continue, but all in all, this coaching staff's got to be very pleased by what they've seen.
And ultimately cannot get this out to the 25-yard line as he's dropped at the 23. final shot before half for Brady. He's going deep for Brown. And he knocks the ball away, and it falls incomplete. Coming up in the second half, we'll run through John's post-coaching triumphs. But for now, we present a special tribute to the man of the hour, narrated by the Raiders' own Trey Mosley. We now proceed to the start of the second half. The AFC going to get the football first here as we are back underway from Oakland in the John Madden Legacy game. And he won't quite make it to the 25.
Holding, receiving team.
So already not the best to kick returns there, but that penalty, that adds insult to injury and backs him up even closer to the goal line.
Yeah, not ideal field position to begin a drive, is it? Because the extra pressure now goes on the offense. They've got to get some early yards and get away from the shadow of their own goalposts. What every offense wants to do in this situation, get 2 first downs to help out with field position at the least.
So now, Charles, to pick up the story we've been telling, John Madden at 42. He just completed a 10-year stint as the coach of the Raiders. He wants to step away a bit from the grind of coaching, but he doesn't want to step away from the game of football. So he ends up signing on with CBS in 1979 to try his hand at broadcasting. And much like his coaching career, he was pretty much an instant success.
Partner, he really connected with the people right from the start, and people may not remember he wasn't even on the #1 team in the beginning. He worked his way up. But the same things that made him a great coach made him a great broadcaster. The ability to show the big picture, yet break it down into the details. That's what he did with his teams. That's what he did with the people. That way, he was simple to understand, yet insightful for viewers. And he did with that big personality that he had, one that connected with everyone.
Play action. Now it's Brady. Throwing the out route, incomplete. That's Gonzalez. And he'll take this to the other side of midfield before going out of bounds. So for Coach Madden, Charles, by 1981, his broadcasting career is really taking off. He's elevated to the network's #1 booth that calls all the big matchups. And he gets the plum assignment of calling Super Bowl 16, 49ers and Bengals, and he's teamed up with Pat Summerall. And that pairing ultimately would go on to be one of the most influential in sports broadcasting history.
Influential not just in us listening to them. Remember, they went on and called 8 Super Bowls together. But how they put together kind of the template that all of us broadcasters follow now. Sitting down with the head coaches and the quarterbacks and the stars of each team before a ball game to get extra information. And the way that those two paired together, Pat Summerall, short, concise, to the point, and turned it over to Coach Madden to fill in all the big details.
As you mentioned, CD, talking about John Madden, the broadcaster, he called 8 Super Bowls with Pat Summerall, 3 more with Al Michaels later in his career. He spent nearly 3 decades in the booth all told. And not only was he beloved for his mannerisms, we know that, but he rifles one that's intercepted. And they will take over at the 29-yard line.
Well, I think everyone who's watching was certainly hoping to see things get a little bit better for them in this half, weren't we? But it was a downright miserable first half that's carried over with an interception to begin the second half. That's a defeated offense right there. And there's still a lot of game left. I don't think that's the last turnover we're going to see today, partner.
A 3-yard loss to start the drive. They'll look to make that up and then some on 2nd and 13. Another run with Sanders. And he'll get about 3 here as he's out to the 30. So through 3 quarters of the John Madden Legacy game, it's the NFC start. Back now here on EA Sports. It's AFC football, but they trail here as we begin the 4th quarter. The numbers for the NFC on 3rd down. They've been good, 3 for 4 thus far. This is 3rd and 10. Up the middle they go with Sanders. And he is stopped just short on 3rd down. Got 9 yards, but needed 10.
That's the kind of run that gets everyone excited on offense. And, you know, oftentimes the guys who carry the ball are the ones in the huddle doing the chirping. Right now, I think it's the offensive line telling them, run it again. We are right there about to break a big one.
This will be a 41-yard punt, 3 on the return. And the AFC will take over 1st and 10. The offense for the AFC set to go now. Trying to shake off the interception from the last drive. He'll look to throw.
Now, CD, we did get a little ahead of ourselves talking about John Madden, the broadcaster in the 90s and 2000s, because there was another product during that time period that he became quite famous for, and it's something that you and I know a little bit about, and that's the video game that bears his name. Originally John Madden Football when it was first released back in the late 1980s, and now known the world over simply as Madden.
And Coach saw this originally as a way to teach the game of football. The early designs were for a 7-on-7 game, but he said no chance. He would not sign off on it. He wanted to be as realistic as possible. He told him, call me when it's 11 on 11. And he got his wish.
Yeah, after that debut, Madden the video game continued to pick up steam through the 90s in a big way, and John himself, many will remember, was a commentator for the series for many years. And now here we are in the 2020s, and this game has sold somewhere in the neighborhood of 150 million copies.
On 1st and 10, it's Sanders. And he'll keep it moving down to the 15-yard line.
So 2 minutes to play in the John Madden legacy game. And the NFC well in control. And we'll be back to Oakland after this. Second down, and back they go to Sanders.
Looking for a seam, but finding none. He'll get back to the line of scrimmage, and that's it. Calling no gain that time, as it's going to leave him with a 3rd and about 3 to go.
And they go play action with Favre.
Man open, it's Moss, complete. And stopped a few yards shy of the goal line at the 3. They'll run with Sanders. Nothing doing there. They're going to wind up holding him at the 2. No gain there, and it's going to set up 2nd and goal. Defense doing their job, really nowhere to run the football.
Yeah, it's almost textbook, wasn't it? Every place he tried to find an open spot, there just wasn't one. Congrats to the defense, no gain.
So it's a win here for the NFC. Just an incredible afternoon of football and remembering the life of John Madden. And before we go, one final message. And for all of us at EA Sports, this one's for you, Coach.
I just say this, I thank you all very much. This has been the sweetest ride of them all.
Time to decide how you're going to make your Madden NFL 23 debut. You could put yourself back on the game's biggest stage and raise that Lombardi in Super Bowl 56.
But it ain't just me, it's the whole team. Share it with the whole team. Congratulate the whole team. Cause when you riding like we riding with each other, ain't no I in this. It's the whole team. Share it with the whole team. Congratulate the whole team. Cause when you riding like we riding with.
Become coach once again and captain a team of legends and stars to victory in the John Madden legacy. Feeling a little rusty on them sticks? Hit the practice field to get some work in before you start a game. Head on over to the main menu and see the full array of options you've got to work with at Madden NFL 23.
And all we want is chips, ring fingers looking ice. My day ones had to dance at the beginning.